Okay, so I need to do. Hey all, so 2 days back this judgment has come, which is like a milestone in its own way, and this got us talking. And the sentence that came with the judgment that touched us all, that the daughter is a daughter for life, and the son is a son till the time he is married. So अच्छा normal क्या होता है कि when any judgment comes we feel happy about it, but most of the time we don't know that what is the detail like. Legal terms are very section this and that. So we wanted to understand in simple language what is this the judgment about, how does it matter to us. We have Colonel Rohit with us, who has been in this doing a lot of how do you can tell about yourself, Colonel Rohit. It's better like that.
Okay, my name's Colonel Rohit, and we've been working. I mean, me and my friend Raj, we run an organization which is called Mission Fight Back. We've already trained 5,000 girls in the art of self-defense. So we are basically a group that believes more in preventive rather than being reactive. So we are into preventing rapes and molestation that happens on the street. But while we're doing this, the scope keeps getting bigger and bigger because people, and especially ladies, they keep coming and asking us about their rights, their marital rights, their inheritance rights. So today, since we've got this opportunity to be speaking to Priya Hingorani ji and of course Meeta, so I thought it was a good opportunity for me to actually be asking questions which ladies have been asking me over a period of time. So I would actually be representing all the ladies who would be listening to you now and who've been sending us questions.
And maybe you can throw some questions which men must be wondering too.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So Priya, please explain. Now it's your turn to explain it to us that what is this all about, from where yeah.
See, I think traditionally in our country, because we are a patriarchal society, we have had, the whole mindset has been that men have rights over property, and women when they get married, जब शादियां कर देते हैं लड़कियों की, तो लड़कियां अपने घर चली जाती हैं और बस उस टाइम जो शादी पे खर्च किया या जो उन्हें दिया, दैट इज वो उनका है. उसके अलावा जमीन जायदाद पे या प्रॉपर्टी पे या घर पे बेटी का कोई हक नहीं होता. So this was been the mindset in our country, and that has been also followed over generations. And as we all see in as family women's laws have developed over the years, हमने ये भी देखा है कि we've had, this is our country is a unique country where we have dowry related deaths, dowry related issues. दहेज लाने ना लाने पे जलाया जाता था, मार दिया जाता था, तंग किया जाता था. So the law has evolved over the years, where you have had laws coming in to prevent all this from happening. But as far as property rights was concerned, right from the beginning, it was that particularly we're coming back to, I'll come back to this judgment. The general law was that the women had no right in the ancestral property, and whatever was self-acquired by the father. If my father had built a house or had self-acquired property, I would have an equal right into it as like my brother would have. But if it was ancestral property, जो बाप दादाओं से आती थी, उस property पे लड़कियों का हक नहीं होता था. So then there was an amendment which was made, which is that this was contrary to the whole constitution of giving gender equality and equality to to both men and women. So in 2005, the amendment to in the Hindu Succession Act to Section 6 came, in which they said that women have a right, are also co-partners, and women have a right to property, ancestral property, from birth onwards. Which was there from birth onwards, rights were there, but it was clarified that by this amendment that they had a right. Then that continued. Everybody was very happy. 2005 onwards, you saw a lot of cases coming into court where women were also fighting for, asking for partition. Earlier they could not ask for partition, so now they could ask for partition. Lots of cases came up in court. A lot of family settlements came in where girls were also given right into the property. But then there were conflicting judgments of the Supreme Court on various high courts. When we are talking about this particular judgment, which is considered all those conflicting judgments, and this question which arose in this case, which was referred to a larger bench of 3 judges after the conflicting judgments, was whether if the father has died prior to 2005, will the girl have a right, will the daughter have the right to be a co-partner in the property? She has a right from birth, but in this case, the only reference to the questionnaire, it's a very landmark judgment to the point that they have clarified to the aspect that yes, even if the father was not alive when this amendment came, even then the girl has a right to be called a co-partner and she has a right to the property. So in this case, they have discussed various conflicting judgments. कुछ judgments थी जो कहती थी नहीं है, अगर father मर गए तो he passed away तो she has no right. There was another judgment of Justice Sikri which said कि yes, they have a right. So they have laid down the law to clarify these aspects.
So is there any time limit that a woman of a certain age, like suppose a woman is 60 and she can ask for her rights?
Yes, but the time limit is that those cases, when this amendment was passed or placed before the parliament, the date was 20th December 2004. So any cases which were filed before 20th December 2004, or there was a decree, ya court ka order, those cases cannot be challenged. They cannot be challenged. But those cases post 1995, 2005, post cases 2005, when this amendment came into place, उसके बाद those cases जिसमें oral settle agreement हुई है, oral partition मांगी है, in those cases या आज की तारीख में अगर कोई लड़की अपने प्रॉपर्टी में co-partner है और she wants a partition or she wants a right in the ancestral property, she can ask for it.
So what is scope? Yeah, Colonel.
Yeah, no. So I just wanted, because I was seeing it from a different perspective altogether. So does that mean, I mean, firstly, I'd like to understand, in case if the girl's father is alive, because आज की तारीख में इंडिया में क्या होता है कि लड़कों का फादर अलाइव भी होता है तो भी वो पार्टी प्रॉपर्टी का वो मांगते हैं, डिवीजन मांगते हैं. तो अभी इस केस में भी लड़कियां भी उसी तरीके से फादर अभी अलाइव है and they can ask for a division of property?
They can ask for division of property, absolutely. They have a right.
Does this not also open up a Pandora's box for the in-laws pressurizing the girl for a division of property?
No, see that now when the property is given to the girl, it is given in the girl's name. It's not given in the in-laws, the husband's name or in the in-laws name. And when you look at the matrimonial law of it, whatever comes to the girl from her father's side is hers. So when you talk, जब मैं रोज आए दिन हमारे divorce cases करते हैं, हमारे सामने ये cases आते हैं. When the girl asks for maintenance, अगर जैसे घर टूटता है and the girl asks for maintenance for herself or alimony for herself or for the children, the maintenance for the children, it's the husband's responsibility to look after the girl, her maintenance and the children. But he cannot say that because you have property given to you by your father, that's why you are not entitled to maintenance. That's not the law. The law says if you are married, if the girl is not working or if she is working, nowadays the court's mindset have changed. Many cases where the court say the girl is earning, she has the capacity to earn, she's well qualified. In those cases, they look at it whether she should get maintenance or not. In most cases, maintenance is not given. Nowadays, times have changed. It's not that blindly court says ki maintenance do. You know, but they cannot look into the fact that a girl has got property from her father. That is not taken into consideration. That is hers.
So sometimes when the son adds to the father's property assets, how does it calculate it? How will you measure it?
No, in a matrimonial dispute between a husband and wife, the income and assets of the husband are only looked at by the court. The court does not.
I'm talking about brother and sister. So suppose if a daughter asks for the rights in the father's property and the son has invested 10, 15, 20, whatever years in building that business or the asset.
No. That's different. We are not talking of self-acquired or a business thing. This judgment has come only, and this judgment is only related to the ancestral property of the father or the grandfather. See, what is ancestral property? Ancestral property is something which is evolved or devolved from the grandfather, great-grandfather.
Pushtani.
तो उसी this judgment is only relating to that only. This is not related to all the other rights, all the other laws remain as they are. This judgment only talks about that.
Does this also entitle her children subsequently? Now, in case if there is a case where the father is still alive and the daughter then she's got one or two children, whatever number of kids that she has, but she passes away, can the children claim it?
The children will get to share whatever her share is, will be equally divided between the children.
So then it further gets equally divided between if she has a boy and a girl. So now to understand, ये जो पुश्तैनी प्रॉपर्टी होगी, अगर वो लेडी जिंदा खुद नहीं रहती है तो उसके बच्चे क्लेम कर सकते हैं, और उसमें भी बेटा और बेटी के बीच में 50% डिवाइडेड
50% divide होगा, and both of them can claim it and they will get equal division, whatever is her share of it.
Okay.
And what about, okay, so this is about only the property or the ancestral property from the father. What about the mother, maternal inheritance?
Maternal inheritance to goes
But
as per
it's the same, exactly.
it's exactly the same. But whatever she gets as part of the ancestral property, whatever her share, she can either gift it, will it, or if there is no will or if there is no gift deed, then as per the Hindu Succession Act, it devolves on the legal heirs.
अब इसमें if I speak, पहले मैं मजाक में पूछा था, but I think this is a serious question. You know what every man basically जब से जजमेंट आया तो काफी लोगों को बीपी हाई हो गया होगा, especially the men, right? तो हमारी कंट्री में जो ये प्रॉपर्टी के जितने मसले रहते हैं, झगड़े रहते हैं, उसमें इतना ज्यादा टाइम लगता है, 10 साल 20 साल 30 साल, you keep reading in the newspaper, and now the court has also given such a landmark judgment. Aren't they adding to their own it'll keep getting bigger and bigger, because अगर इस तरीके का प्रॉपर्टी का कोई है, now with a judgment like this coming, does it somehow shorten the gestation period of the court cases?
See, this judgment is not going to have an impact on any of those matters which are pending in courts for long, because this judgment is on a very, very limited point, whether co-partitionary, women have a co-partitionary right, but whether they were entitled to the share if the father had passed away. There was a very limited question which was put up in this case. If the father had passed away, would she have a right? Though she has a right by birth, but would she have a right pre the amendment? The court has clearly said, even if the father passed away, because the right is given to her by birth, she can claim as a co-partner.
That is exactly what I was asking.
So in this,
but the man is going to contest it. The brother is going to contest it. What is the gestation?
As of now, there are so many cases already pending in court. There's so many cases. So now the court has also said, if you read the judgment towards the end, that there are so many matters pending in different high courts across the country. So we request the high courts to kindly expedite the matters in view of this judgment, decide all those matters. There's so many matters were pending. Obviously, there's a lot of litigation as far as property is concerned in our country. We are basically a litigious society. So yes, I think with this judgment coming in, a lot of cases will get disposed of. But in India, in the change which has come in the last decade or maybe last 5 years, I would like to say, is that more and more matters of family disputes between parents, between sons and father, between brothers, sisters, are being referred to mediation. More and more courts are saying, why are you as a family fighting? Why are you fighting for property? Ultimately, one will lose, one will win. Why don't you go in for mediation? Go and sit together to an independent person and get it resolved. So the trend in the courts has been that they are referring matters, family matters like these, dispute matters, to the mediation center. And there is some sort of a success there.
So one of the questions which was, although I'll just be digressing a little, एक सवाल मेरे से पूछा गया था, अभी मैंने पीछे एक वेबिनार किया था जिसमें मुंबई के जितने भी हैं, मुंबई थाने में जितने भी कोर्ट्स हैं, जितने भी ये फैमिली डिस्प्यूट्स है, मैट्रिमोनियल डिस्प्यूट्स वगैरह, उसको बहुत जल्दी डिस्पोज ऑफ कर रहे हैं, और जिसपे वो लेडीज को मेंटेनेंस दिलवा रहे हैं. लेकिन यही चीज अगर दिल्ली और यूपी और हरियाणा और इस बेल्ट पे, पेट्रियार्कल बेल्ट पे अगर देखी जाए, So they're taking their own sweet time. And एक चीज जो आपने बोली कि मतलब आज की तारीख में कोर्ट का माइंडसेट वो हो गया है. अभी हम एक लेडी को बोलते हैं भाई तुम BBA क्वालिफाइड थी या तुम MBA क्वालिफाइड थी, बट शी वाज BBA and MBA qualified when she was like 25. अब वो at 35 or at 40 when her husband decides to leave her. And now the court says that just because you are MBA, but that she's done MBA like 15 years back. Nobody's actually even going to give her any kind of an employment.
True, Rohit, that's true. That's something which is we've always argued in court, and we've also said that. In fact, there are conflicting judgments to that effect. There are some judgments which say if she's qualified and she has the capacity to earn, and the court now says, you know, you apply for jobs. If you get a rejection, put all those documents, and that's what we advise them. कि आप अपनी jobs के लिए apply करो. आज की market में they look for younger lot of people. They don't want people who are post marriage or post children. They who want to go back to jobs. They find those kind of ladies find it very difficult to get good jobs. So the court says that if you are not able to get a job, try your best, and if you are not able to get it, please put your rejections on record. So we will look into that. And the court also says, you know, there are conflicting to the point that in one judgment the court said even if she has the capacity to earn, even if she is earning 10,000, but if the husband is earning 3 lakh rupees, she is entitled to maintenance. So, you know, court looks at each case in its own strength, in the facts of each case. So we cannot generalize, but yeah, there are judgments which say you can, the women, if they're working, they will not be entitled to it. And if women, even if they're working, some of them get the maintenance.
Yeah, I heard some, okay.
No, please, Meeta, please go ahead.
No, you continue, then I have a question, then I can ask.
I just had one specific, because there's another case which came up. I just got a call before this. There is a lady whose husband in an IT company earns 2 lakh rupees a month. Now, what the court has actually done is they've divided, rent nikal ke, uske lifestyle ka paisa nikal ke. Finally, a guy who's earning 2 lakh rupees net, which is coming home, the court has only given her 18,400 rupees. And now they are asking her to maintain herself in a place like Gurgaon and saying, okay, this is what you get. And she's already, I think, she's for 38. And the court now says, okay, now go find your job because 80,000 to mil raha, you can sustain yourself.
18 or 80?
18,400.
She can appeal to the higher court because if he's earning 2 lakhs and she's getting 18,000 there's a difference, you know. She can appeal in the higher court, and I'm sure she'll get some kind of a relief from there. Because these are individual matters where one doesn't know the full facts. You know, by and large, the court looks at, and particularly now in Delhi, ever since the judgment of the Delhi High Court has come in Kusum Sharma, where you have to file the financial affidavit, you have to file all your financials before the court. Both the parties have to file it simultaneously. The court looks into all those aspects: lifestyle, the kind of income, the mutual funds, the kind of car you drive, the kind of club membership you keep. So court looks into all these issues. But I know we've digressed from the main topic. But yeah, coming back to the main topic, you know, I find heartening about this judgment, my view, after having read this judgment, is that there was a lot of, the court has very clearly said, you know, there are a lot of cases where oral partition has been claimed by men, and you know, they say that it comes, you know, a lot of cases in a lot of families, women don't know what their rights are, women don't know what the law is. वो शादी करके अपने घर चली जाती हैं, उनको ये नहीं पता होता कि भाई, because they are not aware of what the law is. So brother आके कहते हैं या father आके कहते हैं कि भैया एक हमने oral partition करा है और उसमें oral partition में हमने ये किया है. So court here has very specifically said that oral partition should not be taken as on the face of it. The courts now, if a case comes up and they say that हमने oral partition किया, should not actually accept it. There should be some documentation. There should be some revenue records. There must be some family settlement. There must be some MOU to talk about the partition. Because in the garb of oral partition, many women will lose their rights. Many women will be taken for a right. So this is very significant in this judgment, which has been clarified, specified, and has given a direction to the courts to keep this in mind, that they should not, on the face of it, just accept the oral partitions, which I think is very important.
Priya, we have two questions on from our audience. One is that what is co-parcenary? What is that?
Co-parcenary is a person who has a right into the ancestral property. When you talk of जैसे मेरे दादाजी की एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी थी जो उनके दादाजी ने दी या उनके पीछे से पुश्तैनी चली आ रही है, और तो उसमें जिन जिनको हक होता है, जो पार्टिसिपेंट होते हैं उस प्रॉपर्टी के, उनको को पार्टनर्स कहते हैं. सो बाय बर्थ a girl is also a co-partner after this amendment. 2005 में जो amendment आई है, in Hindu Succession Act, a girl is also a co-partner by birth and the boy is also a co-partner. So both of them have a right. So co-partner is a person who has a right into the ancestral property.
Okay. Another question is, what if there is a will and the will hasn't mentioned the daughter in it?
See, will has something different. Will has nothing to do with this thing. With this thing, if in the will there is a reference to an ancestral property, and there she has not been mentioned or she doesn't get a right, she can go to court and ask for her right. She can ask for her share in the ancestral property now after this amendment, which has come in 2005 and which has been clarified and by this judgment of 3 judges bench. So she can go to court and ask for her right.
Okay, so that the will can be questioned.
Yes, she can charge. She can challenge the will. And if she has signed the will, see what is happening nowadays is what lawyers have been advising people, that when you make a will, it's best when you make the will, you share it with your children. You get them to sign on the will. You make the witnesses are there. So if a girl has signed the will and it's in her knowledge that this was what is in the will and given, and उस time she did not question कि अब मेरी ancestral property, because she probably did not know कि उसका हक बनता है नहीं बनता है. So she has to, then she can go back to the court. She can, of course, because the will comes into play only after the person passes away. So if her brother is not willing to give her any part of the ancestral property, then she has to go to the court for it. Because बहुत ऐसे cases होते हैं जिसमें पता ही नहीं होता लड़कियों को कि उनके क्या हक हैं.
So Priya, the immediate thought after this decision that came to my mind is that at least the women, अब उन्हें ये नहीं लग गया कि हमें कुछ handout दिया जा रहा है. होता है ना कि normally the culture had been कि when the girls are married, either give them something as a gift, give them envelopes, and that was supposed to be their pocket money, which they had been taking from. And you feel that this house is no more my house. So it is in a way which, if I say in a very cliche term, it is very empowering for the girls. But a very funny question came that the man asked that you spend so much money on her dowry, knowing that she will not ask for any right on the property, because you spend a lot of money on the girl's marriage. How do you compensate for it? What do you say?
No, I think when a marriage in our country, whether it's a boy's marriage or the girl's marriage, equal amount is spent. If not equal, substantive amount is spent even in a boy's marriage. But that is the choice of the parents. I mean, this is something inherently by birth. A woman has a right to her property, whether she claims it or not, whether she gets it or not, is one aspect. See, till now, till 2005 amendment, she did not have a right in the ancestral property. In the self-acquired property, she always had a right. It's a matter of choice for the parents that they never gave it to her, or they said कि भाई तुम्हारे हम शादी में compensate खर्चा कर रहे हैं तो हम नहीं देंगे, and the girls would also give it up. See, because when we are talking of rights, this judgment is very limited to only ancestral property. When we are talking of the general law is something different. The woman has a right in self-acquired. If my father has a property and we are 3 children, three children are equally entitled to to that self-acquired property. So ये बात और है कि लड़कियां छोड़ देती हैं और they feel कि छोटे-छोटे घर हैं, brother doesn't have any other place to go, I've gone into another house, or the parents think that way. So they have a right. It's up to them whether they want to fight for it or not.
Colonel Rohit, you have any questions? The man perspective.
No.
Or the women perspective.
No. So the men's perspective was only that there are going to be more number of court cases where men are going to contest it. Like I said, the BP sabka high ho gaye honge, though it will be a limited, ancestral property is limited. But I think Priya brought it out fantastically well. And the only last question which I had on my mind is, because with this, you said we are the only country where we burn our bahus because of dowry and things like that. somewhere I feel, yes, this is going to create a certain kind of a pressure on women, to be now asking the father for the division. So women are still going to be pressurized for it. And just because of that pressure, can this property, can somebody try to have this property transferred to their names? And does that make it transferable? Like maybe a husband or in-law, or it has to stay in the girl's name, and she can, once she disposes it off and probably claims the money once she's disposed it off, then of course nobody really has any control over it. But
See how many, how many people actually have ancestral property in our country. You have to look at that statistics as well. And how many properties actually get divided by means and bound, like physically divided. When there is family ancestral property, it goes down to families down the road. And people don't live together in joint families. They all live, mostly are now living in nuclear families. So your question is, yes, what is hers is hers. It's her choice. She may dispose of, she may not dispose of. Yes, there are cases where there is a lot of pressure on girls when we do these matrimonial matters. I'm doing one such matter right now, and this lady has got 3 properties in her name. And the argument in the court is, every time the case comes up, the argument is, उसके पास इतनी property है, उसके पास तो why should she be given maintenance? उसके पास इतनी सारी घर हैं, वो उसने किराए पे दे रखे हैं, उसको किराया आता है. That's hers. What is the responsibility of the husband? If the husband, and in this particular case which I'm doing, the man is earning 10 lakh rupees per month. So, and she's a housewife. She's getting a rent of 1,50,000 rupees. It's enough for her to maintain herself. True. But the thing is, there are 3 children involved. She doesn't have a house to live in. She can go back and stay in one of her own houses, but she doesn't want to. She says, that's my security. That's my security for later on. Tomorrow, if he doesn't do anything for the children, this is something I will give for my children. If he's not thinking for the children, I'm thinking for my children. 3 children are to be looked after, till they stand on their own feet, their higher education, their marriages. So she says, this is my financial security for the children. So that's her argument in court. But what is his responsibility vis-a-vis the wife and the 3 children? So court has to, kind of balance it, and court has to see, if you're married, what is his responsibility. See, had it been a situation where she had this property and she was earning and he was not doing any well, she would not have got the maintenance. Probably he would have asked for maintenance.
So now this becomes part of Stridhan, is it?
No, it's not Stridhan. It is her private property. Stridhan is something which is given by the parents and the in-laws, which is her jewelry. That is what is called Stridhan. Property does not come as Stridhan. It's not counted as Stridhan.
So it will not be part of that.
No, right. It is jewelry which is given at the time of marriage, just before marriage or after marriage, to the girl, is called her Stridhan.
So Priya, we are running short of time. The question, are there any loopholes that women must know about this new ruling on the Hindu Succession Act? Because there's always, you feel, what is the hidden thing that I should be?
No, in fact, this judgment absolutely discusses, in 121 pages, discusses all the laws all the judgments which have come in the past 3 decades, and has, given a clarity and given a clear mind on the fact that even if the father is not alive, a lady is entitled, is a co-partner, is entitled to right in the ancestral property, and she can ask for it. See, as men are concerned, either men or women are concerned, it is only 3 generations, still 3 generations you can ask for a partition. Suppose there is a grandfather, great-grandfather, grandfather, and a father. So the children of this father can ask for partition. But a great-grandson cannot ask for a partition till the great-grandfather passes away. So it's only 3 generations where you can ask for partition. Then it's only when the great-grandfather passes away that the great-grandson can ask. Similarly, great-granddaughter. So it's only after 3 generations you can ask. Till 3 generations you can ask for a partition, not the 4th generation. And also that as far as this judgment is concerned, because it is on a limited point of clarification, there are no loopholes in this. It's a question of interpretation. And I think now with this judgment coming, so many cases which are pending in different high courts on this issue will get resolved and finish. So in most cases, there would be, I think, a lot of women who would benefit from this judgment. So my understanding is that a lot of women will benefit after this judgment now.
So as Colonel Rohit was also asking, so last question, ki social implication of this new ruling, is it a step in empowering women in a holistic manner, or how do we look at it?
Absolutely. It's a fantastic judgment as far as empowerment of women is concerned, giving them their dignity and their right, which they are entitled to, which they have by birth. It was just a question of legal interpretations, and now those legal interpretations have been put in place. The judgment is a great step forward for giving women their right and making them more empowered.
So मैं typical word में बोलूं, जैसे लड़कियां बोलती हैं ना कि husband बोलते हैं माँ बाप के घर चले जाओ, माँ बाप बोलते हैं वो तुम्हारा घर है. Now the parents can't say अब वो तुम्हारा घर है. There is always a house for her. So that is like, that comes to my mind, that you're not getting it as a handout. So
No, it's a right. It's not a handout. And they have just honored the point which has been said, that a daughter is always a daughter for life. So a daughter is a daughter for life, and she's got her right now.
But that is true also, Priya. That is true. I think so. So thank you for being here with us. We really needed this, because at least half of my day had gone in Googling it and checking it out, what exactly it is. So I thought that we must call you here and understand it and simplify it. So thank you for being here with us.
Thank you very much. Very nice meeting you, Rohit, and we'll be in touch.
Such a
and
pleasure.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Damini and Sriti, for always having me. And thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Colonel Rohit.
Thank you, Vita. Take care.